The alien doctor didn't panic when she saw the human's DNA. She went silent. Her hands froze midair. Her eyes locked on the scan, and slowly, very slowly, her skin lost color. Because what she was looking at was not unknown. It was forbidden. Elias Vance knew something was wrong the moment the room stopped feeling neutral. The Imperial Medical Wing was supposed to calm visitors. Soft, glowing floors. Warm citrus air. Gentle lighting that adjusted to your heartbeat. But right now, every instinct in his body screamed danger. "Please remain still," the doctor said. Elias didn't move. Not because he trusted her. Because 6 guards stood around him, holding weapons made of condensed light. "I am extremely still," he said carefully. "The stillest I've ever been." No reaction. The doctor stood across from him. Tall. Composed. Almost human. But not quite. Her skin shimmered a deep violet, like twilight trapped under glass. Her long ears curved backward, shifting slightly with every thought. Her name was Lyrith, and she was studying him like a problem she couldn't solve. "This is a routine genomic scan," she said. "All off-world citizens must be catalogued." "Of course," Elias replied. "Wouldn't want to accidentally cause an interstellar incident." Still nothing. That made it worse. The platform beneath him hummed. Then it lifted slightly, shaping itself around his body. A thin field of energy wrapped over him like invisible glass. Above him, light unfolded. Dozens of holographic strands descended, weaving together in midair. Symbols. Equations. Patterns. Alive. Elias swallowed. "Okay, that looks expensive." Lyrith moved her hands through the projections. The system reacted instantly. Rewriting. Adjusting. Scanning deeper. Then, the sound changed. Lower. Heavier. Elias felt it in his chest. "You have an unusual cellular structure," Lyrith murmured. "I get that a lot," he said. She ignored him. The hologram above him began forming a full model of his DNA. A double helix of light, rotating slowly. Perfect. Normal. Until it wasn't. Elias squinted. That wasn't there before. Lyrith stopped moving. Inside the helix, something new appeared. Golden nodes. Bright. Precise. Symmetrical. Not random. Not natural. Designed. The room felt colder. Lyrith recalibrated the system. Once. Twice. 3 times. Same result. The golden structures remained. Stronger each time. "That is not possible," she whispered. Elias raised his head slightly. "That's usually a bad sentence, right?" No answer. Lyrith expanded the scan. Zooming in. The golden nodes weren't just decorations. They were embedded deep into the structure. Connected. Integrated. Perfectly aligned. Elias felt his pulse rise. "Doctor, you're doing that thing where you go quiet, and I get worried." Still nothing. Then, the door opened. No sound. No warning. The guards immediately straightened. Elias felt it before he saw her. Pressure. Authority. Something ancient. The Queen entered. She didn't need introduction. Everything in the room shifted around her. Her skin held a deeper shade of violet. A living circlet of light rested above her brow. Her presence was calm, controlled, dangerous. "What has occurred?" she asked. Lyrith hesitated. "Just for a second. Your Majesty, the human scan has revealed an anomaly." "I prefer unexpected upgrade," Elias muttered. Ignored. Again. The hologram rotated toward the Queen. The golden nodes pulsed. Brighter. Like they reacted to her. The Queen stepped closer. Slowly. Her eyes locked onto the scan. Then, she froze. It was subtle. Barely visible. But Elias saw it. The slight tension. The shift in her expression. Fear. "That sequence," she whispered. Lyrith nodded once. "Yes, Your Majesty." Elias blinked. "Okay, I'm definitely missing context here." The Queen reached into the hologram. The moment her hand touched the golden nodes, everything reacted. A deep harmonic sound filled the room. The markers pulsed. Perfectly synchronized. Elias felt it too. A warmth in his chest. Not pain. Not fear. Something else. Something familiar. The queen pulled her hand back. Slowly. Her eyes snapped to Elias. Sharp. Focused. Dangerous. Those markers, she said, are sovereign identifiers. Elias frowned. I'm sorry, what? Lyrith answered. They exist only within the royal bloodline. Silence. Heavy. Elias laughed once. Nervous. Okay, funny. I like the drama. No one laughed. The projection shifted. Lines extended from his DNA, connecting, mapping, aligning to another structure, larger, ancient, the imperial bloodline, and the connections were direct, precise, impossible. The encryption is intact, Lyrith said. It cannot be replicated. The queen's voice lowered. It cannot be faked. Elias slowly sat up. As much as I'd love to be part of this conversation, he pointed at the projection. What exactly are you saying? Lyrith didn't hesitate this time. You are not unrelated. A pause. Then, you are direct descent. The words hit harder than anything else. Elias stared at her. No. Immediate. Firm. That's not possible. The queen didn't argue. She was still watching the scan, like it was rewriting reality. How many know? She asked. Only those present, Lyrith replied. Seal the chamber. The doors closed instantly. Locked. Elias swallowed. That feels like the opposite of good news. The queen began circling him, studying him, not as a guest, not as a prisoner, as something else. Humans were catalogued centuries ago, she said. Genetically insignificant. Wow, Elias muttered. Rude. She ignored him. And yet here you are. The golden markers pulsed again. Stronger. Elias felt it clearly this time. Something inside him responding. The doctor expanded the projection. Ancient symbols formed around the golden nodes. A crest. Elias recognized it. He'd seen it across the station. On walls. On banners. On everything. The royal symbol. His throat went dry. I didn't steal anything, he said. The queen finally met his eyes. There was something new there. Not just suspicion. Not just fear. Curiosity. There are 3 explanations, she said. Elias waited. Error. Malfunction. A pause. Her voice turned colder. Or our history is incomplete. Silence filled the room. Elias stared at the glowing DNA, at the impossible truth burning inside it. And suddenly, this didn't feel random anymore. It felt planned. Designed. Waiting. The queen stepped back. Her voice became absolute. No data leaves this chamber. The golden markers pulsed, like a heartbeat. And no one speaks of this. Elias exhaled slowly, because deep down, he felt it too. Something inside him. Waking up. Something old. Something powerful. Something that didn't belong to him, but was always there, waiting. And far beyond that room, hidden systems inside the Empire quietly activated, as if they had been waiting for him. Elias didn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt it again, that quiet heat spreading through his chest. Not pain, not fear. Something active. Something waiting. They moved him without explanation. No restraints. No chains. Just silent guards walking too close behind him. That was worse. The new room wasn't a prison. But it wasn't freedom either. The walls shimmered faintly, reacting to his movement. The air kept shifting temperature, like it couldn't decide what species he was dealing with. Elias walked to the transparent barrier. Below him, a planet curved into view. Ships floated in orbit. Watching. Always watching. Yeah, this is definitely how people get bad news, he muttered. The door opened. No guards. Lyrith stepped inside, followed by 3 hovering drones. Her expression had changed. Less calm. More concerned. You are not under arrest, she said. That line is losing credibility, Elias replied. She ignored him. A circular table of light formed between them. His DNA appeared again, rotating slowly. And the golden markers. They were brighter, stronger, different. We have begun full analysis, Lyrith said. Great, Elias muttered. Let me know if I'm still human by the end. Her ears tilted slightly forward. Worry. The markers are progressing, she said. Elias frowned. Progressing how? The image zoomed in. His breath caught. The golden structures were no longer static. They were spreading. Tiny strands reaching into nearby DNA. Connecting. Rewriting. That's new, Elias said quietly. Lyrith nodded. Yes. Is that bad? No. A pause. Then, it is not harmless either. Elias let out a short breath. Fantastic. He rubbed his face. Am I mutating? Lyrith hesitated, then shook her head. No. Another pause. You are stabilizing. That word again. Elias looked at her. Into what? Before she could answer, the lights dimmed. The air shifted. That same pressure returned. The Queen. She entered alone. No guards. No distance. That meant this was serious. She moved directly to the projection. Studying it. Silent. The change has accelerated, she said. Lyrith nodded. Yes, Your Majesty. Elias raised a hand. Quick check. Should I be worried about exploding? No one responded. He sighed. Worth asking. The Queen circled the projection slowly. Humans were never part of our lineage, she said. Yeah, I've heard, Elias replied. Her gaze snapped toward him. Sharp. Then explain this. Elias opened his mouth, closed it. I really can't. She turned back to the display. There were sealed expeditions, she said. Lyrith stiffened. Your Majesty, those records are restricted. They were dismissed as myth, the Queen said. Silence. Then, until now. The drones activated instantly. Ancient archives filled the air. Most were blocked, redacted, gone. But one file flickered. Unstable. The Queen reached toward it. It opened. A star map appeared. Spinning. Then locking onto one system. Elias leaned closer. That's Earth. Lyritha's voice lowered. Yes. Data followed. Fragmented. But clear enough. Expedition 7A. Unauthorized. Royal clearance. Elias felt his stomach drop. Yeah, I don't like that. The Queen spoke calmly. A royal vessel was sent to your world. Lyrith continued. Small crew. Genetic compatibility study initiated. Elias blinked. Compatibility. No answer. Which was an answer. Oh, Elias said quietly. That's not scientific, is it? The Queen's jaw tightened. The record ends soon after. Convenient, Elias muttered. Lyrith accessed deeper layers. Hidden data. Personal involvement confirmed, she said. Elias crossed his arms. How personal? Silence. Then, a succession air. The room went still. Elias stared at them. You're serious. The Queen didn't deny it. They chose to remain, she said. Elias exhaled slowly. They didn't just visit Earth. No response. He nodded slightly. Yeah, got it. The golden markers pulsed. Stronger now. Lyrith zoomed further. They are adapting, she said. Elias frowned. To what? She hesitated. Then, to proximity. A cold feeling settled in his chest. Proximity to what? The Queen answered. To us. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Elias looked at his DNA, then back at them. So someone came to Earth, hid royal genetics inside human blood. The markers pulsed, and it stayed dormant, brighter, until I showed up here. Lyrith nodded. Yes. Elias let out a breath. That's insane. The Queen's voice cut through. No. A pause. It is intentional. That word lingered. Elias felt the warmth again. Stronger. Spreading through him. Not painful, but powerful. Like something was locking into place. What happens when it finishes? He asked. Lyrith didn't answer. The Queen did. We do not know. Before he could react, the doors opened. This time, they didn't wait. A group of elder figures entered. Robed. Decorated. Eyes sharp. Lyrith straightened. The High Archivists. One stepped forward. He looked at Elias. Then the projection. His expression shifted instantly.
Shock.
This signature, he whispered. It was extinct. Elias sighed.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. The archivist ignored him. The sovereign branch, lost after the fracture. Elias frowned. What fracture? The queen's voice hardened. A division within the royal line. The archivist continued. An heir refused control and vanished. Elias crossed his arms. And took the bloodline with them? The archivist nodded. Silence filled the room. Elias looked at his glowing DNA, then asked quietly, if they had children on Earth. No one moved. What does that make me? The archivist looked straight at him, his voice steady, not distant.
A pause.
Then, the continuation. The golden markers exploded with light. A deep harmonic sound filled the chamber. The system surged. A beam of light shot upward, connecting to the queen. Her crown ignited. Brilliant.
Alive.
The connection stabilized instantly. Unmistakable. The archivist stepped back. That resonance, one whispered. Only sovereigns can trigger it. Elias stared at the queen. The queen stared at him. Neither spoke, because now, there was no doubt. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't theory. This was truth. And truth like this changed everything. And far beyond that chamber, the first whispers of this secret had already begun to spread. The moment the light connected them, everything changed, not just in the room, in the empire. The resonance faded slowly, but the silence it left behind was heavier than anything before. No one spoke. No one moved, because they all understood what had just happened. This wasn't theory anymore. This was proof. Elias lowered his hand slowly. Okay, he said under his breath. That felt important. No one laughed. The queen stepped back first. Her expression had changed. Not fear. Not confusion. Something deeper. Conflict. The connection is stable, Lyrith said quietly. The high archivists exchanged tense glances. One of them stepped forward. This cannot remain hidden, he said. Another immediately countered. It must be contained. A third voice cut in. If this becomes public, factions will divide instantly. Elias blinked. Factions? The room ignored him. Of course. The queen raised her hand. Silence returned instantly. It is already too late for secrecy, she said. That landed hard. Lyrith looked at her. Your Majesty. The queen turned toward the projection. At the glowing DNA. At the golden markers that now pulsed with calm certainty. They are no longer dormant, she said. They are active. Integrated. Elias crossed his arms. Still not loving how that sounds. This time, Lyrith almost smiled. Almost. The eldest archivist stepped closer. If he is acknowledged, he said, he becomes a claimant. Elias raised a finger. I would like to officially decline that position. No one reacted. Again. If he is denied, another said, those who support the old bloodlines will rebel. Elias lowered his hand slowly. That sounds worse. The queen remained silent, thinking, calculating. Then she spoke. There is another option. All eyes turned to her. Elias included. We redefine the meaning of succession. Silence.
Confused.
Tense. The archivists frowned. That would break centuries of law, one said. No, the queen replied calmly. It would correct them. That shifted the room. Elias stepped forward slightly. Okay, before we rewrite your entire empire, can someone explain what you expect from me? The queen looked at him directly. Not as a ruler. Not as a threat. As something else. A decision, she said. Elias blinked. About what? Lyrith answered this time. About who you choose to be. That hit harder than anything else. Elias looked back at the projection. At the glowing structure inside him. At the truth he never asked for. I'm not a king, he said quietly. I can barely manage my own life. No one is asking you to rule, the queen said. Then what?
A pause.
Then, to stand. Elias frowned. That's it. The queen stepped closer. Her voice softened. To be seen. The words settled deep. Lyrith moved beside him. The markers were not designed to dominate, she said. They were designed to connect. Elias let out a slow breath. Connection seems to be causing a lot of chaos right now. Yes, the queen said, because it was denied for too long. Silence. Then, Elias looked at her. Your ancestor chose humans, he said. Not because we're perfect. No one interrupted. Because we're stubborn, he continued. We adapt. We survive. We change things. The golden markers pulsed.
Soft.
Steady. She didn't weaken your empire, Elias said. She made sure it couldn't stay the same. The room went still. The archivists exchanged looks. Uncertain. For the first time, they didn't have an answer. The queen studied Elias.
Long. Carefully.
Then she extended her hand. Not commanding. Not demanding. Offering. Elias looked at it. Then at Lyrith. Then back at the glowing DNA. This is where everything changes, right? He said. Lyrith nodded slightly. Yes. Elias sighed. Of course it is. Then, he stepped forward and placed his hand in hers. The reaction was immediate. Light surged. Not violent. Not overwhelming.
Warm.
Balanced. The golden markers flared. Not brighter, but calmer, like they had reached equilibrium. The queen's crown reformed above her head.
But now,
threads of gold ran through it, matching Elias. The connection stabilized.
Perfectly.
The archivist stepped back.
Stunned.
This is not coronation, one whispered. Another corrected softly. This is recognition. The light faded slowly. The room returned to normal. But nothing felt the same. Elias looked at his hand. No powers, he asked. Lyrith smiled faintly. Disappointed. A little. That actually earned a quiet reaction from the room.
Small.
But real. The queen turned to the council. Her voice steady.
Clear.
From this moment forward, the royal line is no longer defined by isolation. Silence. Then, it is defined by connection. The words echoed. Final. Absolute. Some of the archivists resisted. Elias could see it.
Fear. Doubt.
But others understood. Slowly, heads began to bow. Not to Elias. Not to the queen. To the idea. The shift had begun. Elias exhaled. So what happens to me now? The queen looked at him. And this time, there was something warmer in her expression. You remain, she said. Elias blinked. Here? As envoy, she continued. Between our empire and your world. He considered that, then nodded slowly. Ambassador of awkward family history. Lyrith let out a soft laugh. The tension broke. Just slightly. Elias walked toward the viewing barrier. The planet below shimmered in reflected light. Ships moved in quiet formation. Everything looked the same. But it wasn't. Behind him, an empire had just changed direction. Not through war. Not through force. Through truth. Through choice. Through something human. The queen stepped beside him. Close enough to share the view. Your presence will not be easy, she said. Elias nodded. Nothing important ever is. A small pause. Then, for the first time, she smiled. Welcome to the family. Elias smirked. Let's try not to destroy it. Below them, the fleets adjusted formation. Signals shifted.
Decisions spread.
A new path forming across the stars. And for the first time since everything began, Elias didn't feel like an accident. He felt like a bridge. Between worlds. Between species. Between what was and what could be. And somewhere deep within the empire, ancient systems finally went quiet. Because what they had been waiting for had finally arrived.